Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Entrepreneurs Unplugged, where we just kind of talk all things business, life, and all the stuff that comes in between. My name is Tanisha Stallnaker, and I'm the CEO of SVS. We are your go-to group and agency for all things technical, back-end support, and more. And I'm excited to have my guest. And of course, like I always have to do, because I love tech, but tech never loves me back on these lives. I'm going to have our guest introduce herself, but then I'm also going to make sure that we actually are live because, it's gone some ways before. YouTube is by far the friendliest of all of the connections. LinkedIn is a little touchy. Facebook, we're probably live, but nobody can see it. It's all the things. So, but either way, I want to introduce our guest, Gina. Gina and I met, was it like 6 months ago?
Yeah. Yeah. 6 months
Yes,
ago on Facebook.
about 6 months ago in a
Yeah.
networking group, and we just clicked. So it's really great to have her here with me today. But Gina, can you tell people about yourself?
Yeah. First, thanks for having me. And yes, going live can be glitchy. It's not fun, but we just roll with it. So my name is Gina Tasinelli, and I am a marketing strategist and consultant. I own a marketing agency as well as teach entrepreneurs the same strategies that we use with our private clients. And really what I love about what we do is we help CEOs, personal brands, high level experts to be that go-to solution to premium clients leveraging the online space so that they literally are the only obvious choice. So, yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. See, like I'm looking, Facebook is being squirrely. I don't know what
There
it
you
is
go.
about the Facebook lives where we're live, but we're very private about
Yeah,
it. I was like, Instagram always acts a little wonky.
that one's the worst.
LinkedIn,
Yeah.
yeah, they're all fun. TikTok kicks me off like every couple of months. So every so often we'll go live and it's great. And then it's like, you don't exist anymore. And so no.
Who cares? I get it.
Awesome. So
But we're here.
you
That's all
picked a topic that
that
we've had a few guests talk about, but I like it because everybody kind of approaches it from a different lens and a different point of view.
matters.
And it's kind of just the no fluff, real success stories and or lessons learned in business. I've always joked that at my big age, I'm kind of tired of learning lessons and I just would like to have the success part. But that is not real life. So I know that, you picked a topic a while ago, but I guess kind of talking about this, what excites you about being able to share lessons and successes?
Yeah. I feel honestly like there is a new lesson every day, especially nowadays. But being on my own now we're going to celebrate 18 years in December. Uh, Lots of lessons from the very beginning, especially when you're trying to leverage social media. And, being that I'm like in the last 2 years of my 40s, I did not grow up with social media, right? Tanisha, we didn't grow up with social media. So it was definitely an all new thing. And even as a marketing agency, when I started, I was doing media buying and planning on still like clients were buying newspaper ads. I mean, who actually gets the newspaper nowadays? They were still buying AM, FM radio, things like that, television, cable. And so when I made the decision, because that's where the market was going to really evolve into a social media marketing agency, I was like, okay, what do I do? So I was very private. So my first lesson was to not keep my personal and my business separate. I
Yeah.
did that in the very beginning, and it was such a slow progressing lesson that I had to learn. People were not really connecting with me because I was marketing myself like, I don't know, I thought I was like the Nike of agencies out there with a logo, everything I thought had to be perfectly wrapped. And by the way, my website was horrible. We just did a rebrand like 3 years ago. So I went 14 years with a really disgusting website. So that was the other thing, thinking that I had to have like a website to make it all work. But the first lesson would be that to realize that if I'm the expert, if I'm the one delivering to my clients, they really needed to connect with me. And if I'm going to show up online, I had to show my face, not my logo. And that was, that's one of the main, I would say the foundational lesson that I learned. And it's why I teach a lot of the strategies that I teach nowadays, which is helping entrepreneurs to show up on camera with confidence and to really share their expertise as a personal brand, not as the service or the offer.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
A big
what
one.
would you say with that?
Yeah.
What has been, I guess, what was your first success?
My first success was, as it relates to that, would be to do what we're doing right now, honestly, live video. So I've been doing live videos. I've done over 2,000 live videos over the course of my 18 years. But
Mhm.
actually, it was to show up live. That was when I really, I realized that, oh my gosh, people actually are going to pay attention. Now it's a little different now because of the algorithms, and these platforms have definitely evolved, and the amount of inventory that's in the news feed, but I still do go live. So that for me was a huge success. That's what actually really catapulted the online side of my business. I still have a whole offline leg,
Okay.
revenue stream, but when it comes to online, it's video. Video was a huge success for me. And it's really what we've based our agency from, and what we do for our clients, and how we help our clients market themselves. It's honestly, for me, I just, from my own experience, I think it's the fastest way to connect on a human level with your audience. And now with so much AI, it's honestly, it's not a should I think it's more of a necessity.
It's
Yeah.
funny you mentioned, a lot of cool things, but I think you and I were similar-ish in the showing up part.
Mhm.
I can't tell you. I think I went live maybe once in 2021, and it might have lasted like 36 seconds. Like by the time I started seeing eyeballs, I was like, okay, this is terrible. All right, I gotta go by, And people were like, what were you talking about? I was like, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
I blocked it out of my mind. I moved on. But I think the separating the business and personal,
Mhm.
um, the one, I guess, plus, I'm not going to say that I knew it. I've been hitting the go live on Instagram for a few minutes now, by the way. I'm giving it.
Hi,
But
Instagram.
the one of the things that I think that I learned about the separating is, with me doing fitness for so long and promoting events,
Yeah.
people paid more attention to the personal, and that got their attention enough to then pay attention to all the other stuff. So it was like personal, personal, personal. Something crazy happened. My
Mhm.
dog did something crazy. My kids did something crazy. And then, oh, by the way, let me post some business stuff over here. So it was just like, even if they weren't the right audience per se, but it was
Right.
like kind of getting their attention in another way.
Yeah.
So I kind of mimic some of that from business. There's still some lessons being learned in there,
Yeah.
but it's just a constant ebb and flow.
Mhm.
I started in 2020, so I didn't have to do the TV, the newspaper, and all of that for this, but
Right.
I have done it for when I was in corporate. So I do at least understand and relate that and understand the difference. But
Yeah.
I was like, for me, I'm an in-person. Let me preface what I'm about to say. I love being home. I love remote. But when it came to sales and marketing, my
Mhm.
strengths were in person.
Yeah.
Like you needed to see and talk to me and all of the things so that if my face was saying something that and then I didn't catch it in time, then I could still kind of have my personality and my talking and stuff get me in the door. When
Right.
I transitioned to online, it was really hard because it
Yeah.
was like I put up a picture, it was kind of cute.
What happened? Right.
That should be it right there. People should just flock and buy things because yeah. And so,
Yeah.
I see you go live all the time, and I'm always like, man, she's amazing because I have so much to say until the camera starts and I'm on it by myself, and then it's like,
But you do great live too. What I love about yours is that it's super like raw. It's just real. I mean, I've seen you go live when you're just working. And
yeah, and
that's
that's by force.
it's like interesting, right? It gets people to lean in. So I honestly, I love it. I think more people should do it. Um, I just feel like when it comes to online, if you want to build that connection, people need to see how you talk with your hands, your facial
Mhm.
expressions, all the things as if you were sitting right in front of them. It makes such a difference. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I definitely can give a facial expression, even if I don't mean to. My thumbnails are comical on the best of days, and so I could honestly do an episode of those. If you want to learn how to do it wrong, please see me. Um, so let's see. What would you say your biggest and by biggest lesson has been over the years that you've been in business?
I would have to say is, and I just honestly like this came to fruition really, I would say last year, overhiring, hiring too fast,
Ah,
hiring too fast. It was like, especially as an agency, right? And you start solo, and then you are like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed with business, which is a great problem to have. But
yeah,
I didn't leave corporate to work more. I left corporate to work less and for myself. And I'm working, I mean, wake up super early, then go to bed super late. And it's just like
yeah,
doing that 5 days a week, sometimes on the weekends. No, no, no. That is just not sustainable, especially with a family and being a wife and having kids. So when I started to hire slowly, I was fine. But then we had like a really big boom. And I'm fortunate for that. I would say like shortly after COVID.
yeah,
And I was just like, oh, okay, who I have right now, this isn't enough because they're being overworked. So let me hire. And I just kept hiring. And honestly, like I started to feel like I was hoarding staff. It
yeah,
was like somebody would say, "Oh, I have a really great person that does this." I'm like, "Oh, I want to speak to them." They're hired. "Oh, I have a really great person that does this." "Oh, I want to speak to them." They're hired. And then
yeah,
after next thing you know, it's like there's 12. At one point there were 15 of us. And then you lose a client or two because it's just how things have been. And then you have too many people and you're still, then for me it's like I also get very sometimes it's hard for me to have that boundary between business and personal. And when you've had people working with you and for you for so long, you build these relationships, so you feel bad, right? And then it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I will say this though, I have been fortunate that people, I've never, other than I can think about one time that I had to let someone go, people have left because they actually decided to go a different route.
yeah,
Like they were evolving and they wanted to do something different. So I have been fortunate to not have to really let people go. And I don't know if it just happened that way. Like I was having there was two times that I can think of. I was having a conversation with my executive assistant and I was like, I really don't think that we really have much more use for so and so. And within 24 to 48 hours, they had come to me to tell me that they were thinking about this and they wanted to go a different direction. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they just made this so easy for me. But anyways, I just kind of went sideways. But that would be one of the things that I would say, and it's most recent. So yeah, just overhiring too fast.
yeah. So it's funny. I did recruiting for roughly 6 to 10 years before starting the business.
Hmm.
And I had no intention of having an agency. I was so anti-agency, and here we are. And so the I went from one person who was like really accidental. I was doing a lot at the time of Kajabi builds and stuff like that, and I was getting a little overwhelmed. And
Hmm.
so I met somebody that could do it, and it was like, "Hey, you want to work together, and we can kind of partner and see where it goes." And so it wasn't anything super formal. It was literally, "Hey, I got this client. Do you want this one or this one? And what part do you want? Do you want to do like the design, or do you want to do the actual like connection and integration and all that type of stuff. So we did that for a while, and then it was like 4 people, and then and I remember with the 4, so many of the conversations where they'd like get on and they're like, oh, what can I help you with? And I literally don't want. I have no clue. I don't know. I just know we keep getting busier, and it was like every time I put a human in a seat, we would get busy again.
Right.
And so I ended up at the end of 2021 with like 11 people, but the last 7 I hired all at one time.
Mm.
And even though I had a pretty smooth process for them to apply and, give me like a little video interview response, and I know people have some feelings about those, but it was the easiest way for me to kind of see them. And here comes my dog trying to visit. It was the camera. He's just out of range, but he's literally staring me in the face here. Go lay down. Go lay down. Yeah, you go lay down. He's looking at me like, how dare you? But I had all of those things. What I didn't factor in is the onboarding of 7 people versus 1 at a time. And the cost of 7 people needing access to an email address and all of those things. And then a few months later, I brought on a few more people, and it ended up being like 17.
Wow.
And that was a lot. If all I did was manage people, it would have been just fine,
Right.
But to be the salesperson, manage the team, manage the client expectations, manage the client emotions, and all of those things, it was just, my head was literally
it's
so
a lot.
it was expensive and exhausting. But like you mentioned, some of them kind of fell off on their own. Some of them I did have to let go. That's the one thing, I guess, from being a recruiter and being a hiring manager, I've let people go plenty of times before. So, if it's not working out, it's not working out.
Right.
But what I'm really proud of is the core group that I have. Mine is somebody who joined like last year. They've been around since like 2021. And it's allowed us to have such a really cohesive environment with each other. So that we can kind of decide, like, are we all tapped out? Do I need to go ahead and get somebody else? And if the answer is no, great. If it's yes, also great, we'll work it out. But being able to have all of us kind of say, hey, we can handle more. We don't need to bring anybody else in right this second, unless it's a skill set we just don't have. But, the hiring too fast and hiring too many, plus I'll add an extra layer that I see a lot is hiring. And yes, I was guilty of it that one time, of not knowing what you even want to hire for.
Right.
I think you could do potentially any of those things individually, but when you start to do two of the out of the 3 or all 3 at the same time, it's exhausting.
Yeah, it's another job.
Yeah. Yep. And it's another thing that needs your attention. When the whole reason in most cases that we're bringing somebody on is to take things off of our plate that need our attention. But, now you have somebody that needs access, and they need to be onboarded, and they need to understand how you do things and all of that stuff. So a lot of people don't think the full 10 steps ahead. They think like the first 6, but they don't think about the other half, where it's like, now that you've hired this person, what are they doing? And, who's taking care of them? My goal is definitely to have like the company in a place where I could hire like an actual ops person to do some of those things for me. But we're not there yet. So if anybody who's watching this, please don't contact me. Offering to be my ops person. It's like, no, this is not a job op. So take that.
No, I will say that is one thing that saved my energy, was having that person. So I do have that person. My executive assistant, she is our back-end operational. And when we did hire, when I started to build this team and overhire, she was already in place, luckily, and we had SOPs and a back-end system, and she does handle the onboarding. So I will say that is a big plus, but still, it got expensive. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've had people ask, like, how do they get started in hiring? And I always tell them, like, it sounds oversimplified, but it's like little bits at a time. And when I say little bits, I mean like little bits. And my first 4 or 5 people, and I've even gone back to it now. Which is when I bring somebody on, I kind of promise them like 5 to 10 hours a month, and that's
Yeah.
it, because that's enough for me to give them little things off of my plate,
Right.
um, that give me an opportunity to see how they work,
Mm-hmm.
how they communicate, how do they handle it if I don't give them all of the details. How long are they going to sit there and wait, and if are they going to say anything before I say something? I'm looking at all of that.
It's a little test.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm super upfront about it. I'm like, I'm your client for the first couple of months, and admittedly, I'm not going to be an easy one. I'm not going to be nasty or mean or disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
But between business and mothering and life and all of those things, my brain might be 16 different places. And so I'm that client that's going to give you just enough to do it, but minus the little nuances to make it perfect the first round. And that's intentional, because sometimes I can't think about, I don't know. And sometimes it's, I want to see, are you going to push back and ask?
Mm-hmm.
I'm intentionally not going to chase you. If it goes 3 weeks and I don't hear from you, we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to wish you well and move on,
Right.
because I look at it like I'm the first client. So if you're going to do that with me, then you're definitely going to do that with our clients, and we're all client facing. So, I just need to be super intentional about the energy and the type of personalities that we bring on. I love the people that call me out like, hey, I'm trying to get this done, but you can give me what I need. I need to be mothered, basically.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned.
I agree. And I love that approach though. I think I naturally do that, but I've never been open about it. And I'm going to take that from you. Yeah. I like that.
Definitely need to be mothered. Let's see here. We got a crazy person on YouTube. Blocked them. So I'm like, what?
Someone has a lot of time on their hands.
Like, what is happening? The internet's a weird place, which is a funny lesson that I've learned this year. We started running ads for the first time.
Okay, good. And yeah, but that opens up a whole new world of crazies.
I was like, is anybody a business owner in this? Because all I get is, hey, call me.
Uh-oh.
Hey, gorgeous, can I take you out? I'm like, what? Are you buying something or not?
Okay, maybe we need to talk about that. Maybe I need to do a little audit on your ads if that's all you're getting.
Amy, just so you know, an audit's coming, because I'm like, clearly we're not saying the right words because it's all men. And I can say that most of them, I can tell by their profile picture of them being in a tank top with a cowboy hat that they're not running a business of any type. So the team we've covered the showing up part. I think one lesson for me, and that I see a lot, is we tend to function so much in like go mode. We're either like in go mode or we're in complete exhaustion. It's like, so it's either we're Sonic the Hedgehog or we're completely burnt out. Yeah. At least that's me. I don't have like a middle. But when I'm in that Sonic mode where I'm like all gears loaded, I don't catch the times that we actually hit a goal.
Yeah, I agree. Like celebrating those moments.
Not just celebrating, even noticing that they happen.
Yeah.
I personally tend to be like 3 months behind on the acknowledgement of, wait a minute, we hit a financial goal like a couple of months ago. Well, look at that. That's cool. And then I'm on to the next thing.
I'm the same way. I am the same way. I will say my assistant's really good at pointing that out. So she tries to keep me in line. But if I were alone, I would just keep going. Mm-hmm. I actually missed our 17-year anniversary. She's the one that told me about it. I was like, oh, so this week.
Yeah. It's like, surprise to all of us. Yeah. I mean, if your brain's like mine, I know the day and I remember it until the day comes. And then
Well,
it's like,
it's funny because the day came and I was like, there's something today. I can't figure out what it is. And then I think a day passed and she was like, yesterday was our 17 year. And that's when I realized, I'm like, I knew there was something. And it actually was on my calendar too. I just somehow skipped over it for some reason.
yep. I always look at, I mean, we always call our businesses our babies. So I'm like, when it comes to that, a lot of us are terrible parents,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that the baby's there and I take care of it and check in, but I definitely forget birthdays a lot. So, birthdays, hitting financial goals, team member anniversaries are another one that, I'm like, hey, I really like need you guys to what I've started to do now is use automation and AI to
Yeah.
basically help me not be me with everybody. So it's like, here are the things that I forget.
Yeah.
How can you take this off my plate so that someone is notified so that we can do something about it?
So
Whether it's birthdays.
something we started doing was we have all of our team fill out a questionnaire
Mhm.
with like their favorite stuff, things like that. So we know what kind of gifts to send and that sort of thing. And birthday is there, and then the hiring date. And then from that, I don't know how it happens. I don't know if my assistant manually puts it on my calendar, but she puts it on my calendar, those anniversary dates. So that's been really helpful because I would miss them.
Here's the comedy. We have all of that information. A lot of it is on the calendar. It's the in between part. It's like the day will come and go, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. It was just so and so's birthday. Look at that. Congratulations. And, meanwhile, it's like, oh, by the way, that also means that I forgot to send something. I forgot to send them the gift card or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's not the lack of having the information. It's the actual scheduled action to do it to where I don't have to be reminded to
Right.
do it. It's those types of things, which is sad in a way because like we are all still people and we all have birthdays and all those things. But I think so much technology has come in to where it's meant to help us, but it also kind of makes us a little dumber sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, at least me. You know,
I
my
agree.
memory is garbage because I can record everything.
Right. I agree. And now with
So
AI, like, do
yeah.
we have to think as much? I mean, we should, but
Well, I'll say this with
people are
AI,
losing.
the one skill that is like really being trained in my brain is the ability to come up with really good prompts to get what I need.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
I've taken that as the positive. It's like, hey,
Absolutely.
I might not be able to remember what I wore yesterday, but I can give Claude an amazing prompt to create a whole
Do
dashboard
a
for me.
task. Yep.
So no one's perfect. All right, let's see. Okay, yeah, never mind. Every time I open the chat, I'm like,
In
YouTube
YouTube.
never fails. I'm like, meanwhile, are you guys following the channel? That's the real question. If you're not, then you're insulting me. Hit the follow button or hit subscribe. So plus, I'm like, I don't even know which one of us they're talking about, good or bad. Apparently, we're both beautiful, and apparently, both of us
Oh.
need to fix our nose.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like,
Like
I don't know. Anyway, this is why it's unplugged because people are weird. People are just so weird. Have you ever wanted to do or offer anything outside of the marketing, or did you kind of land on that from day one, and that's what you've been sticking with the whole time?
Well, I mean, this is not what I went to school for. Actually, I have a double major. I have a degree in criminology and another bachelor's in communication studies, which was for pre-law. So,
Oh,
no, this was not what I intended to do at all. However, I still do watch every single episode of Dateline that comes out. I still will watch any live, like, major criminal case that we can watch on television. Uh Yeah, so it's still there. I
Mhm.
just didn't move forward with it. So when I was in college, I did criminology, I did pre-law studies, I wanted to go to law school. I started to study for the LSAT, and I decided to go to the career fair about 4 or 5 months before I graduated. And I met my boss at the time, which was with iHeartRadio. It wasn't called iHeartRadio back then, it was Clear Channel
Mhm.
Radio.
Yep.
And I just found it super interesting. It was, this incredible outside sales job, sounded really fun. I was in my early 20s, like 21 at the time. And so I went and interviewed. They flew me to the interview. They hired me, and they're like, when you graduate, you have a job. And so I came back home. I told my parents, I said, I don't want to go to law school. I think I'm done. I want to make money. And I started in advertising right out of college. So it's yeah, it's not even what I went to school for.
That's
But
pretty that's pretty cool transition though, but some of it
yeah,
still applies. Like the communication stuff is
communication,
definitely, yeah. Um,
absolutely. Yeah, yes,
I mean, here's
100%.
hoping that the criminology knowledge isn't gonna be needed or pulled in at
Right,
your business, but,
exactly.
um,
I will
it
say that I do love, for me, like marketing, especially when I'm jumping into working with a company and their marketing is a hot mess. I love fixing messy marketing. Like the strategy behind it is something that I absolutely love. And that's one of the things that I think about, learning about cases is just, kind of the clues and all the pieces. Same thing growing up, I loved doing puzzles, like the big ones, 1,000+ piece puzzles. So that strategy piece is really what I geek out over. The creative side, not so much. So I don't do the creative side of it, right? But when it comes to even like, paid traffic, Facebook ads, the
Mhm.
whole strategy behind that, the analytics, the numbers, like figuring out why something's not working and then trying to try different things. That is really what I love about marketing.
I love the fact when I meet somebody or talk to anybody that does marketing, and it felt this way even when I worked in corporate.
Mhm.
Um, in the online space, it feels like what I do and what the team does is like one side of a coin, and then what you and your team are doing are the other side. It literally one feeds back and forth into the other. And as agency owners, I also love the fact that our brains are very similar in the sense of here I am doing the strategy. I like fixing things. I like finding the holes. I like seeing where you're wasting money so I can save
Mhm.
you money and get rid of 3 different platforms because you're already paying for this one that does it and it does it efficiently, or taking what you have and just making it more streamlined, whatever the solution is. But I tend to focus on the sales and strategy, and the team does the implementation.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of cool to see that. Like you, I also did not have this on my bucket list when I grew up. Um, I got laid off, and after like the fifth layoff, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'd gotten my bachelor's in communications as well.
Mhm.
And I got my master's in human resources and leadership development. So go figure. Um, I've kind of pulled some of both in,
Yeah.
maybe not in how I run the business, but it has helped when it comes to talking to other business owners and being able to really understand how they're doing things, why they're doing things, maybe what makes them tick a little
Right.
bit, and being able to pull experience in for that. But yeah, I didn't have my corporate job on my bucket list either, so let's just go there. But um,
Mhm.
I didn't expect to be a recruiter. I didn't expect to be a business owner. I didn't expect any of these things, and yet here we are. But
Yeah.
in corporate marketing and recruiting, we're kind of or marketing and sales. I mean, excuse me, marketing, sales, and then recruiting. I looked at the same way. It was like you're selling the business, and now I need to find the people that can, do the job that we promised. And again, that ebb and flow of if either one of us doesn't do our job efficiently, it affects the other side.
Right.
And it's the same thing, even, with us right now,
Mhm.
and any clients that we have. Like a client hiring both of us is probably going to be a fairly large organization. But
Mhm.
even with smaller ones, I might see that they've hired us for the operations of things, but I'm still peeking over and looking at how they're doing their marketing. And it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't hire us for marketing, but you should hire someone, please, you know,
Yeah.
or
And that's part of probably for you, like the leadership development side of it, because that is part of
Mhm.
developing yourself as a leader, especially if you're dealing with a CEO, the founder of a business. Like, you need to be paying attention to some things a little differently. Yeah,
Yeah.
we work the same way with our clients. Really, it's not transactional. It's more like we we are integrated as like growth partners in their business,
Yeah.
as consultants. We're like their confidants. Like we know,
I was going to say consultant slash therapist.
yes, therapist for for real, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I don't get a client at least once a quarter that's come to me and burst into tears, I don't even feel like I'm doing my job real well, because it's like either A, you were already going too smooth, which is not normally the case, or I haven't given you the feel that you can come to me
Right.
and unload your whole life long enough for us to get to the root of those things, fix it, and then we can focus back on the things that you actually hired us to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I've definitely missed my calling in therapy.
You're
Even
getting practice.
I am. I should start a practice just for entrepreneurs, so, where you can come to me and vent about how this is not how you thought this was supposed to go, and the
Yeah.
dog and the family and all of that. All right. So, um, to wrap up, because I know you got some things and I got some things, and for the people, since I haven't gone live in a while, I had surgery, and it's been great. It's been super great.
I'm like, what?
And so I am literally sitting in here in an ill-fitted binder that I rushed to put on, and I guarantee I've missed some things and some hooks and stuff's not attached well. So once we end this live, I will be going to redress myself and trying it again. But I know you also have some place to be. So tell me, is there anything that you wanted to share that we haven't? Is there an offer or anything that you're working on right now that you're excited about and want to tell people about? And then where can people find you?
So, I will leave you with this. As an entrepreneur, you've got to step out of your safe zone and lead with conviction. You have to. If you want clients to find you, to follow you, you've got to lead with conviction. And it's so important nowadays more than ever. Um, Something that we are doing that I'm so excited about is actually I'm hosting a no cost workshop on April 8th. So I would love for those of you that are interested in understanding how to leverage the online space in a sustainable way. I'm going to walk everyone through what I call the visibility to profits ecosystem, which is really essentially what we build for our clients and what we co-create with our mastermind clients that I mentor.
Okay.
So that's going to be a really fun little event. And you can find me everywhere: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, a little bit of TikTok here and there once in a while. So yeah, if you just type in Gina with 2 N's, Tasinelli, and I'm sure we'll drop all those things, you can connect with me on any of those platforms.
Awesome. And make sure you send me the link to your workshop so I
Yes,
can put it in there as well for anybody
I will.
catching it on a replay. And let's see, in the SVS world, we also, I have some cool things. I'm now working on some AI resources because I tend to operate in a mental vacuum, which
Mhm.
a lot of us probably do. But when I create something really cool for SVS internally, I tend to forget to share it necessarily. So I'm working on that. Just honestly, like a prompt library. Like once I get
Love
something
it.
working really smoothly and it's like seamless, then
Mhm.
having an SOP or kind of a step by step for how to take that prompt and make it a real thing. So I'm just going to make it an actual resource to share. Um, But we also have the System Support Hub, and it is great for newer business owners and or business owners that have gotten the build and the implementation, but they just kind of need an in case of emergency break glass here partner when it comes to, okay, so I got this moving, but now they've done an update and this app doesn't work and I don't know how to fix it or whatever the thing is. It is it's a paid quarterly experience. It's either $297 or $497 a quarter. And not only do you get that technical support and the support around fixing whatever the thing is, because it's definitely more of a done with you type of partnership, but you can, for the higher level, get one quarterly call with me to kind of talk about the strategy of whatever it is that you're focusing on. But you also get access to our template library and any trainings and resources that we have going on at the time. So if that's something you are interested in, I will definitely put that in the comments as well. Otherwise, I think the biggest lessons that I would say for entrepreneurs is, and I say it to myself when I say this, don't be afraid to fail. That is part of growth. And it's okay if the picture of what you thought it was going to be does not match what it actually turns out to be. Because sometimes it actually ends up being better than you thought than you imagined in the first place. So there is some value in having to do the course correct and things like that. So, hop on, buckle up, enjoy the ride. It's definitely a ride. And so, many times you want to hop off of it, but you kind of get yourself together, cry in a corner and hop back on and get back into it. So I thank you so much, Gina, for joining me today. I really appreciate the conversation, and you have kind of proved why I like doing it this way. I like just talking.
Yeah, this is
versus, fun. I like talking to somebody. Again, if I go live in 5 minutes, I promise I won't be on there longer than 5 minutes. It'll be the most random thing ever. But I have some podcast stuff that I'm going to be in later as a guest. And so I'm excited. I promise I will commit to going live at least once in the next month. And I will try to make it go 6 whole minutes. So
thanks for having me. This was fun.
Thank you.
And I need to have you on my podcast. You got to get on my podcast. Yes. I got to send you that.
Let's do it. Okay. Let's do it. All right. See you guys, everybody, later. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining Entrepreneurs Unplugged.